Hi there, Shannon here with Genesis Balance. If you're new to my channel, I want to say welcome. And if you have been here before, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about how to fight depression without taking meds. So if you're someone that feels like maybe you've been suffering with a little bit of depression and you want to try to treat it without medication, this video is for you. So stay tuned because I'm going to be sharing some tips with you that's going to help you live your best life. So, how to fight depression without taking meds. First up, number one, before I even get started, I have a few disclaimers I want to say. Number one, I am not against taking medication to treat mental health illnesses. That is not what this video is about. This is not an anti-medication video at all. This is just another option for people because I see clients all the time that want to try to take a more natural route before looking into medication. Number two, this video is not meant for people necessarily that have been diagnosed with major depressive disorder and have also been prescribed medication. This is not a infomercial on how to drop your pills, how to stop taking your meds. That's not what I'm saying to do at all. This is really more for someone who may be dealing with some mild depressive symptoms. Maybe they don't have an official diagnosis. Maybe you're just kind of trying to weigh your options and trying to see what's out there, and you're kind of in the research phase. You're not at the point where you absolutely need to go seek professional help. That's the kind of fighting depression I'm talking about. I am not by any means saying stop taking your medicine if you are on medication or telling you that you should not be on medication, because that is totally not what I believe at all. I am not against medication. But if you want to fight your depression in a more natural means, or you want to try a non-medication route first, I have 5 tips for you on how to fight your depression without taking meds. So my first tip number 1, is you are what you eat. This is very, very, very important, especially when we're talking about trying to deal with depression without necessarily introducing medication into the mix. And by the way, these tips are also good if you are someone that has a depression diagnosis and you are currently on medication. These tips are going to be helpful for you as well to implement into your life, and that is with continuing to take the medication, because medicine is never just the one-stop shop cure-all. So there are always other things that you can do to continue feeling better. So even if you are on medication, these tips will still help you. But anyway, back to number 1, you are what you eat. This is very important because the food that we put into our body, it basically converts into a lot of different things. When we think about eating and we think about food and how it converts into other things, we're typically thinking about how our food turns into basically energy to kind of keep our body going. But there are other things going on aside from just our food giving us energy. So there are certain foods that when we eat them, it actually gives us a boost in certain hormones or chemicals in our body that we refer to as neurotransmitters. And these neurotransmitters basically communicate throughout our body, from the brain to the body, to tell us how to feel and what to feel. So one of the things that we can do in order to kind of treat or fight our depression without taking medication is to eat certain foods that boost the feel-good chemicals in our body. So some of those foods are fatty fish. So things like salmon is going to increase omega-3s. It's very high in omega-3, and omega-3s actually help lower depression. So another food that you can try eating, bananas. Bananas are high in B6, and B6 basically helps to boost those feel good chemicals in your body, those feel good hormones. And it actually raises the level of dopamine and serotonin, which are two of the feel good chemicals in your body. So, bananas. Oats are high in fiber, and they stabilize both your sugar and your mood because of the fiber content. So eating things like oatmeal, granola, things of that nature, that is actually going to help improve your mood. Studies also show that people that eat good hearty breakfasts tend to have lower levels of depression. So maybe you want to incorporate oatmeal into your breakfast routine. And then one of my absolute favorites that I love suggesting people try is coffee. Coffee actually increases the release of dopamine and norepinephrine. And those are two of the feel good chemical mood boosting hormones, whatever you want to call them, however you want to phrase it. They are the feel good chemicals in our body. And coffee actually increases two of those, which, I would love to say that I only drink coffee because I, know that it can have a positive effect on mood, but that just wouldn't be the truth. I just love coffee, but it's a really great, cool side effect to drinking coffee. So that was fatty fish like salmon, bananas, oats like oatmeal and granola, and coffee. All of those things, when we put them into our body, they help boost our mood. So, number 2, get moving. I am not going to sit here and, try to drill into your head that diet and exercise are the only ways to go. I don't like to exercise. I almost feel like exercise is a dirty word. It's really ridiculous how lazy I can actually be. So I don't like to tell people to, exercise or train or work out. I just prefer to say get moving. The more that you move your body, the better off you'll be. So just like with the food releasing those feel good chemicals, our bodies release those same neurotransmitters when we move, when we work out, when we exercise, when we do those things. Now, I personally feel like it's kind of the universe's way of kind of rewarding us for working out, because otherwise no one would ever do it if we didn't get that boost in feel good chemicals. But other than that, it actually does really help. So while I am not someone that, first of all, I don't feel like I can tell you, hey, go work out, 3 times a week at the gym. Definitely not now, but go work out 3 times a week, lifting weights and doing all this cardio and stuff, because I personally don't do that. So I'm not going to tell you to do that. But what I do is I try to stay active. I do walk a lot. I do a lot of walking. And what I've personally noticed is when I get on a routine or regimen of going for a walk every day or every other day, and then I miss a few days, I feel like I have a gap in the time from the last time that I walked until that day, then I can actually legitimately feel my mood start to drop. So that tells me right there, aside from all the science and everything that I already knew that backs it up, I know for me personally, I can feel the difference when I am not as active as I was before. So get moving, move your body. If you want to go for a walk, if you want to go for a jog, if you like to dance, that's a really awesome way. I love dancing around the house with my daughter, who is actually a dancer. She's in dance, but just being silly and dancing around the house, whatever it takes to get you moving, that's what I want you to do. So number 3 on the how to fight your depression without taking meds list is to get to know the Sandman again. So more often than not, when people are feeling kind of blue, down, depressed, when people come in with symptoms of depression and I ask them about their sleep, habits or their sleep hygiene, they tell me that they have not been sleeping well. This does not surprise me. This is very, very common, which is why getting to know the Sandman again is so important. There are many things going on when we're sleeping. Obviously, our body is kind of rejuvenating, it's resting. That's the time where our bodies really go to work at fighting off any type of sickness in us and things of that nature. But when we aren't getting enough sleep, then that can actually affect our mood. So think about it this way. If you've ever been around any child, really, it doesn't have to be your child, but if you're around a kid and they're kind of cranky and they're whiny and they're complaining, what do parents normally say, or what do you normally think? Oh, that kid needs a nap. And you're probably right. And we are no different than children in that manner, because when we are extremely tired and we are in sleep deprivation mode, or we have a sleep deficit or a sleep debt as it's referred to, then we are cranky and we're whiny and we're irritable and we're just not ourselves. The other thing is, we often see a change in sleep habits or a lack of sleep or insomnia as a symptom of depression. And it's actually kind of unclear as to whether or not, in every case, we don't know for every single case whether or not the depression is causing the sleep deprivation. I don't know why I can't say that word today, deprivation, or if the insomnia is what's leading to some of the depression, because they are so closely intertwined. So make sure you are getting enough sleep to kind of clear up any type of sleep debt that you may have. We should be getting between 7 and 9 hours of sleep every night, which right in the middle, of course, is that 8 hours of sleep we always talk about. So make sure you're getting enough sleep, because if you're not, it's going to be very hard to fight any symptoms of depression. So, number 4, don't believe everything you think. So the problem is, we often have these negative automatic thoughts that come to us when we're in certain situations, and we aren't even necessarily paying attention to those negative thoughts, but we are behaving based off of those negative thoughts. And when we think of things, we automatically just believe them. We believe it's true. So if, for instance, what's a good example? For instance, if I have a project at work and it doesn't go over well, if I think, well, geez, Shannon, you suck, that was just a terrible project. You really should have done it this way. You should have put in more work. You always do this. This isn't the job for you. You're never going to be able to prove yourself. If I'm having all of these negative thoughts and I'm believing them, then that is going to make me feel terrible. So be very, very careful with what you believe and what you're thinking. If I were to change those thoughts to, well, man, I, could have done a much better job if I've done this next, this is a good learning experience. This is a good lesson for next time. I know where I went wrong and I know how to fix it. Those thoughts are going to make me feel a lot better than all those negative things that I could be thinking. So if you are having a negative thought moment and you're thinking really negatively about yourself, you're having some negative self-talk, I want you to pause and think about whether or not it's true. And the best way to figure that out is, does this thought make me feel good? Because if it doesn't, and it's a negative thought, then chances are it's not true. It's not even true. So don't believe it. Don't believe everything you think. So number 5, the final one that I have on how to fight depression without taking meds, is get a therapist. So I know that I said, this is about not taking medication, and that is exactly what this is about. So when you go to a therapist, that does not necessarily mean they're going to put you on medication. Often therapists aren't even able to prescribe medication. That's something that they would have to actually refer you out for. And there are plenty of techniques that we as therapists do, plenty of interventions, plenty of therapeutic techniques. There's so much that we can use in your treatment plan that can help you overcome depression without ever having to take medication for it. I do sometimes refer clients for medication management, but more often than not, I don't. I actually just work with the client. We work on changing negative thoughts. We work on, looking at what do you believe about yourself. We really get to work on why they feel the way they feel and how to help them what they, okay, let me stop. How they feel. We really work on why they feel the way they feel, and we work on what it is they would rather feel, and we get them there. I'm having a really bad day with words today. So those are the kind of things that you're going to be looking at when you're working with a therapist. And working with a therapist in a lot of cases is enough to help you manage your depression without having to take medication. So to sum up, the 5 tips that I have for you on how to fight depression without taking meds. 1, you are what you eat. Make sure you're eating foods that feed and nourish your body in a way that is also going to elevate the level of feel-good chemicals in your body. 2, get moving, because once again, when you're moving around and you're staying active, that really boosts your mood and helps to raise levels of depression from being depressed to being happy. 3, get to know the Sandman again. If you're not getting enough sleep, it really doesn't matter if you're on medication or not. If you're not getting sleep, you're going to feel bad. So make sure you're getting that 7 to 9 hours of sleep that you need every night. 4, don't believe everything you think, because a lot of our automatic thoughts are really, really negative. We have the tendency to believe it and go and, behave based off of it. And it's not fair to behave based off of a lie. And then number 5 is get a therapist. More times than not, the therapist may be able to work with you and do interventions and treatments with you that do not require medication. So there you have it. Even though I kind of struggled through it, I don't know, maybe I've had too much coffee this evening. So I know I kind of struggled through it, but I hope that you actually got what it was that I was trying to say, and that this content actually helps you and benefits you. So I'm hoping that you can take these 5 tips and use them to help fight off any symptoms of depression that you may be feeling. But remember, there's absolutely no shame in utilizing medication for depression. There's not. But if you want to try a different route or a different method before kind of exploring the medication route, these 5 tips should help. So if you are new here and you've never seen my channel before, I hope that this content was good enough for you to click that subscribe button so that you will never miss any of the content that I'm putting out for you guys. If you think that this video was beneficial, these tips were good, then I want you to hit that like button. And if you are subscribed, make sure you click for notifications, because it's my goal to keep pushing out content that's going to help you live your best life. So until next time.